Okay, thanks for joining us. We are going to get started on our Louisiana Purchase episode. It's the second lesson in Chapter 7. Louisiana Purchase is an extremely central part of America. Not only is it in the middle of America, but some very important events around its acquisition. So, um, first, I want to just show you something right here. We have um, a map of Europe. Now, Europe has come to dominate much of the world because of colonization. Countries like United Kingdom, France, Spain, Portugal, they all start colonizing all over the place in North America and beyond and become very, very powerful nations because of it. It does boomerang a little bit during this time because and it's pretty much all our fault. America has a revolution, and France is our friend. They help us out to fight off the United Kingdom, who is the premier superpower of the time. France is a very close number two, and France wants to be number one, of course. But in the meantime, the revolutionary principles of why do we have kings ruling us? Shouldn't the people be ruling their own lives, and can't they run the country too? And, why do we have people that are simply just born into it, leading the country instead of people that we want to lead? And so it infects France, and France has its own revolution, albeit a much bloodier and not quite as nice revolution that we do. And they go through a lot of turmoil. In fact, they behead the king and queen. And so you can imagine the effect of the King of Spain, United Kingdom, all the other kings and queens of Europe are now very worried that this will happen in their country. So everybody starts fighting with France. France starts a couple of fights, but most of the time it's people going after France, especially the United Kingdom, and who can blame them? France is responsible for United Kingdom losing its greatest colony, the United States of America. So America has a close relationship with France at this time because of the revolution, and we have a close relationship with the United Kingdom because of our ties with trade. So it's a very precarious situation. Washington and Adams tried to navigate this, but Thomas Jefferson is somebody who has favored France quite a bit. He was the ambassador to France right after the revolution, helped design some of their ideas about freedom and equality and self-rule and so forth. So he has a very close connection. Now, there's two things there. First of all, the connection to Thomas Jefferson, I want you to remember. And secondly, because of these wars, Europe is going to be embroiled in all this, and it's going to weaken them, and it's going to affect our history very profoundly. That's what's going on in this country. You notice the territories that we are taking are from countries like France, United Kingdom, Spain. That's because all of these countries are now going to be devastated in these wars that are going to happen in Europe, and they're going to start letting go of their possessions in North America. And guess who's there to pick up the pieces? And that will be us. So Louisiana Purchase is the first real major casualty of what's going on here. Um, so how did we get Louisiana? What happened there? Well, first of all, I'm going to skip around a little bit because I think it should be explained a little bit differently. But Napoleon comes to power in Europe, and he saves France. He helps them dominate Europe, and he's just unbeatable. And he's able to get back the Louisiana Territory from Spain, which they lost in the French and Indian War, if you remember. Anyway, he gets it back, and he really doesn't want it. The land is not particularly valuable, but the port city of New Orleans is. And the reason why it's so important is because all these great rivers, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio, they all funnel down into New Orleans, and that's a major trading port because then once you get your goods there, it can go out to the Gulf of Mexico, go out to Atlantic Ocean, and then out to the world. So New Orleans is supremely important. And Spain, when they had it, let us use it. Think about all these farmers that had to get their goods out. Um, so Spain was pretty good about it, but then France takes it over and shuts down the ports. And the reason why they shut down the port is because they want to get rid of Louisiana Purchase. Well, why did they want to get rid of the Louisiana Territory? Well, they have a slave revolt in, um, let me see if I can pull up a map here, but they have a slave revolt in the Caribbean in a place called Haiti. Let me just pull up a map here real quick. Oh boy, Sorry, I had this before and I lost it. All right, so here we have a world map, and right down here is the Caribbean, and this is Haiti right here, which was a very important French colony. They made a lot of money off of sugar and trade, and the slaves revolted there and destroyed their army. And Napoleon over here in France knew he couldn't defend any territory here in the Americas, so he decided, well, you know what? If we can't hold it, why wait till the British come in and take it? We're just going to sell it to the Americans. So when he closed the port, the Americans got all freaked out and said, "Hey, can we buy New Orleans from you?" And Napoleon said, "No, but I will sell you New Orleans if you buy the rest of it, the rest of this territory here." And so Napoleon sells it to Thomas Jefferson, who's the president at the time in 1803, for a price of $15 million. That's it. Okay, now that sounds like a lot of money, and back then it was a lot of money, but for the amount of land that you get for $15 million was minuscule. So America was super happy about getting New Orleans, and then all this extra land too. This is crazy. So they were able to get basically double the land that America had at the time in one purchase. So this was a great move by the Americans, and it makes sense when you look at the French situation, why they needed to get rid of it. All right, couple of well, first let's go over treaty. It's a formal written agreement between two nations. So that's what happened between France and America. We made a treaty saying, okay, this land is now ours, and we're going to give you $15 million. Okay, but America and France were not the only people that were affected. Indians were affected because now they were going to be moved into this new territory. There were places, and let me pull down because we're going to talk about it more later on in the chapter when we talk about the Trail of Tears. But all these Indian tribes that lived in this area will be forcibly removed into Oklahoma, which is in the Louisiana Territory. And Jefferson had this idea that, the American Indians will live on this side of the Mississippi, and we'll live on this side, and everybody's going to be happy, and it's going to be wonderful. Of course, it didn't work out that way, and we'll get into it more. But that was one of Jefferson's ideas that he was going to do with the Louisiana Territory. But his main goal was to get New Orleans because of its value in trade. This is a vital artery in America's economy even back then, and New Orleans was a very important city. So we really didn't know what we bought. We knew we bought New Orleans and we knew some of the land, but it's grassland. It didn't look like it was particularly valuable, and so Thomas Jefferson is going to set an expedition to explore the Louisiana Purchase and find out exactly what's going on out there. So that's our other word. Expedition is a journey taken by a group of people for a particular purpose. And that's it. And next lesson, we're going to be going into Lewis and Clark because that's the expedition we're talking about here, and that's why Lewis and Clark are so famous. And that's it. Just know Louisiana Purchase. 1803, Thomas Jefferson buys it from Napoleon of France for $15 million. And they really just wanted the port of New Orleans so that the Mississippi can empty out and you can get trade through there. That was really the only thing. And we ended up with all of this land instead for very little money. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.